Hey folks, it's 3 days out, so here's Chapter 4. Slightly delayed because allergies are a thing. Enjoy. Chapter 4. The midday sun shone steadily as the armed contingent from the camp approached the outer walls of the town of the Three Vales itself. Rion strode at the head of what could vaguely pass as a formation, with Bryn at his side. Vama and Balin walked further back at the core of the group, protectively flanked by a dedicated guard. They were no more than 100 strong, but the town of the Three Vales was never significant because of its size. Its central location and role as a gathering place and hub for the surrounding valley communities made it vital for the commerce and social cohesion of the region. Ironically, it was the very same reason that its abrupt occupation was exerting such an outsized influence. Rion's mind ran through his internal calculation for the 1,000th time. 100 willing fighters should be enough for the task ahead. But there was really no alternative after all. It would simply have to be. As Rion walked, light glinted off the large, brass-colored gauntlet he wore on his right hand. A series of support struts, joints, and mechanisms linked it to the back of his armor's chest plate, the spinning components within whirring steadily, as his gauntleted arm easily hefted the large-headed halberd single-handedly. Sun rays played on the front of the tall shield he bore in his other arm, as he led the desperate yet hopeful folk of the Three Vales back toward their long-time home. As they approached the walls, a resounding creak could be heard emanating out from the town as its gates ponderously swung open, echoing off the darkened ramparts. Rion and the townsfolk's contingent halted a good few hundred meters away, giving whatever was coming out wide berth. Still, they were close enough to catch small glimpses of what had been transpiring inside since they were driven out. The rustic homes they had known their whole lives now appeared somehow wrong, as if their outer edges were in the process of sloughing off a layer of skin. Something akin to dark lichen clung to anything it could, giving off a sickly, oily sheen. The air itself seemed shadowed, somehow denser, suffocating. Rion steadied his breath, not permitting panic memories to clatter unbidden about his mind. He acknowledged his fear but mentally packed it off to where it belonged. There was no mistaking it. The touch of the infernal was here, and its heralds were now marching out through the gates. With easy arrogance, the occupiers strode out of the walls, the same unmistakable acrid blackness clinging to their bodies. Some were still purely human, fresh, as it were, the oily corruption just beginning to seep into them with only their extremities and joints slowly blackening. Most likely they were willing volunteers, freely in league with the new regime that had taken root. The others were more overtly unnerving. Only vaguely human in shape, armor covered much of their forms as they clanked along, weapons slung at their hips or held in their arms. Rion's eyes assessed the small host before them. At least double their own number, but not much more than that. He let out the breath he did not realize he had been holding in. He had expected worse, but this would be no easy task regardless. He then heard Balin, the town's cleric, sharply hiss through gritted teeth, pointing his finger accusingly at a figure that had separated from the group and walked forward. "That's him. He's the one." The entity he pointed to stood at least a head taller than his compatriots and looked denser by half. A thick, cruelly curved khopesh hung at his hip, while a helm covered the upper half of the face, leaving only the chin and jaw exposed. What looked like a hastily assembled jumble of teeth jutted through partially opened lips, blackened saliva leaking from the mouth's edges. Clearly holding command, it moved forward from where the rest of the contingent had stopped and strode toward the group of townsfolk, who were by now rather rigidly clutching their weapons. Stopping midway between the two sides, a distinctly raspy masculine voice echoed from its lips. "And what have you come for this day, children? Come to capitulate after your brief sojourn in the wilds?" Bryn took a step forward, but Rion's hand on his chest steadily held him back. "Kind of you to leave the safety of the walls," Rion called out. "We've nothing to fear from this lot, whatever they may have told you." He evaluated Rion casually, the direction of his gaze eventually fixating on the symbol affixed to Rion's waist. "And what are you supposed to be then? Their holy savior, come to absolve them of their troubles, drive off the evil that plagues them?" A cruel sneer passed across his face. "I am Rion, merely here to facilitate a solution. And now that you and yours are already mostly out the door, might I suggest you keep on walking?" he replied. "I care not to where. Leave these people in their home in peace, and I vow we will not pursue you. Leave now, and you will have mercy." He placed his right fist briefly to his heart in a show of earnestness. The creature scoffed, a cackle ringing across the open field. "You are in no place to make such an offer. You continue to stand there and breathe only at our whim. We are not the ones in need of mercy here." Rion shook his head in a show of disappointment. "I offered my name to you. It is only proper you do the same." The creature's face spread into a twisted grin. "Ha! I know better than to offer you such a boon. You do not deserve such sway over me. You can call me enemy, for that is all I am to you. Now, submit, be gone, or face death." His face twitched angrily. "I care not which." Rion sighed and cocked his head slightly toward Bryn, his eyes not leaving the threatening creature at the head of the occupier's retinue as he whispered, "Not exactly unexpected, but now you have to trust me." Rion strode forward, gradually closing part of the distance to this proclaimed enemy standing before him. "How about an exchange, then? Take your forces, leave this town, and let its people be. In return, I will surrender myself to you. You have seen the symbol of the blazing dawn at my hip. You know my capture will bring you acclaim among your kind, far more than holding this backwater would ever do for you. I offer this but once." He breathed steadily, calmly, waiting for a response. The creature calling himself enemy stood still a moment, pondering the offer, then licked his lips briefly as black spittle ran from the edge of his mouth. He smiled. "Done. Drop your arms, surrender to be bound, and we can make an accord." Rion exhaled and dropped his heavy halberd to the ground, the weapon thumping profoundly as it struck the earth. His shield followed soon after. Enemy motioned forward with his hand, and 5 soldiers broke off from his retinue and made their way toward where Rion was standing, isolated between the 2 forces. 2 of them reached down to heft the weapon from the ground, their strain evident as they slowly pulled it up. The other 3 stood in front of him, the taint of their corruption slowly emanating from their bodies and creaking armor. They held up a set of heavy manacles of blackened metal, as enemy barked gruffly, "Remove that glove, and present your hands." Rion did as he was instructed. When he slid his right hand from the gauntlet, the mechanical whirring slowed and ultimately stopped, becoming inert once more. It now hung limply at his side, suspended by the jointed struts still tying it to his armor. He watched as the manacles were clamped about his wrists, the rough metal digging into his flesh. As the loops closed, spidery runes glowed briefly along the chains. He firmed his expression and looked up at enemy, who was visibly gloating in front of him. "There. I have done my part. Now leave these people to their lives," Rion said. Grinning wickedly, enemy strode up and grabbed the chain hanging between Rion's manacles, jerking him to face the townsfolk, many of whom had already started muttering nervously amongst themselves. "Hear me now," he yelled. "Your ally has made a noble gesture, and so, I must make one of my own in return. I have been asked to leave your town. Fortunately, I am already outside of your town, having left it to address you, rabble." He let out a guttural laugh. "And so, having already done as you requested, I will leave you be as promised. This day, go back to the wood to eke out your lives in insignificance. Or if you seek something more meaningful, come and take part in the great work we have already started. You are ever welcome." With that, he turned, jerking Rion back toward the town gates. He halted abruptly, however, when he felt resistance. The creature spun around aggressively, only to see Rion staring up at him with barely contained fury, his jaw set. "You lied." Rion's words grated through gritted teeth. "This is infernal iron, boy," enemy growled. "Whatever blessings you want to call down will not avail you, so you had best come along quietly. And no, you were just careless in the bargain you struck. Only pain awaits you now. You do not deserve any more honesty from me." "Then you clearly do not deserve mercy from me," Rion declared loudly, as his eyes flared a golden red. He spoke a single word in a strange tongue, sending the pure notion of fire echoing into the minds of any close enough to hear it. Flames burst from his wrists and roared up his arms, shooting past his shoulders and billowing into a corona of fire behind him, the display momentarily drawing everyone's attention. Taking the opportunity, Rion quickly slammed his right hand down into his gauntlet. The mechanism stirred violently to life. His captor stood dumbly immobile, barely having had the time to register that the iron manacles once clasped about his wrists were currently nothing more than dripping slag running onto the ground. Rion rushed for his weapon, backhanding one of those holding his halberd across the jaw and tearing it from the other's now weakened grasp. Stepping back, he raised his weapon aloft as red gold fire crawled up its length and gathered at his head. The light grew in intensity until it was nearly blinding, as Rion strode deliberately forward toward the one who had declared himself his enemy. The creature snarled, caught in the process of frantically trying to draw the khopesh from its waist, but it was to be of no use. Rion closed in, clutching a radiant star in his hand, and swung the blazing weapon before him. Where its arc passed, nothing but ash remained, blown away listlessly on the wind. He pointed his left arm at the remaining occupying force, the majority of which were now staring slack-jawed at their commander's rather unceremonious and abrupt annihilation. "Forward!" he called, echoed by a roar from the 100 throats behind him. Rion broke into a charge, snatching his shield from the ground mid-stride, as they all thundered in unison toward the town's gates.